Up next, new top-level domains, why we're getting no sleep, and new laptops from Apple. All that and more coming up next. This is Tech Talk Tonight, episode number 59, recorded June 14th, 2012. No sleeping. Tech Talk Tonight is recorded in front of us, live studio IRC chat room. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this very dark and very scary episode of Tech Talk Tonight. This is episode number 59, I believe, and I am here joined in studio, as almost always, a somewhat pixelated because the video mixer decided to crap out once again tonight. Awesome. I'm going to have to replace that.
Braden, we're acting like we know what we're doing tonight. Because we have lots of international viewers.
With your video now flaking out, I don't feel like I can pull that off. But I'm game. Yes. What have you brought to the table here tonight, fine sir?
Oh, I don't know, not too much. I got some water. I got some tech stories. What's been up with you? You've got a haircut.
I got a haircut. Was my hair not cut this last?
I don't remember. I'm drunk at all these things.
I'm now Johnny Ive. Johnny Ive, everyone. We've taken something and made it absolutely revolutionary. Haircut.
I guess
like
we
Johnny
didn't
Ive.
really notice last time because we were talking about the movie. But
This
the
is
movie
true.
is out.
The movie's out on YouTube. It's Giggles. You can find it on the same YouTube channel as all of our Tech Talk Tonights. Go check it out. We'll promote it some in the show links and everything too. That was a weekend of our life, and another week of promotion. I
A weekend
guess.
of your life,
Yeah.
may I point out.
Yeah, but I worked you to get the website and everything going. Is that still up? Giggles.squarespace.com.
It's going to be themovie.giggles. Or the www.themovie.giggles if ICANN has anything to say about it, and that brings us to our first story.
Oh, segue.
So, the first tech story of the night is there's going to be new top-level generic domain names. Are you excited about this, Braden?
Now, a top-level domain name, that's .com, right?
Yeah, that's
.com,
like
.net, .org.
So everybody knows there's .com, .net, .org. There's also top-level names for countries, .au, .za for
US.
.us. Who does that?
There's a few.
But anyway, the ICANN a year or two ago realized that they need more money, and they're running out of money. So they came up with this scheme to make more money, and that is they're now allowing other words to be at the end of website names.
So anything. I can get .braden. How do I get such a lucrative thing such as .braden?
So that's the funny thing. This week they just announced the initial applications that companies have put forward. A company has to pay $180,000 just to apply. I just posted the link in the chat room
Chump
to
change.
check these out.
Absolutely.
And then after that, if they do get it, they're essentially the official registrar for that top-level domain, and they have to pay $25,000 a year if they're awarded it.
So does the money for domains going at that top-level domain to the person who has purchased the top-level domain, or does it go back to...
I don't know. We'd have to do some research. But what I do know is that there are lots of conflicts. For example, lots of companies want .vip, or lots of companies want .cloud. In fact, what was it?
I heard .sucks was also
Google or Amazon did over 100 requests.
I heard Google did.
Facebook did 0 requests.
Right.
Amazon had how many? I don't know.
Not as many as Google, but they were another one of the top runners going out for things. They were trying to actually get a lot of phone-related things, like .phone, .message, .... there was another, mail or something, but... And then Google was the one going for, the whole family route. They were getting .son, .daughter, .dad, .family, .mom. So maybe Google is trying to, come of age and be a very...
They're going to create a
family-centric
ancestry website.
They could.
But the last point on this, before we move on, is that the last interesting thing. I mean, there's a lot of interesting stuff in this list that we posted. But I thought an interesting one was .Catholic was requested by the Pope.
By the Pope.
And there was no one contesting him, and I guess no one really can.
I don't think they should.
He's the dude.
Okay, but what do you post on a .Catholic
I don't know.
website?
I mean, most of these companies, they're doing what most of the companies are doing, and they're just running defense, right? They don't want anyone else to get that top level domain, so they're going to take it, and they probably won't do much with it. Who's going to go to that? Everyone's going to stay with .com or your specific country code, and that's fine. And ICANN will get more money.
Okay.
The end.
The end. What else do we have up tonight, Gavin?
We got a space story. Have you been following this? This is before any of us were born. Voyager 1 was sent out into the wild. Do you remember that?
Is this... Oh, yeah, I kind of do know this story. This is because didn't we just mention this like a couple podcasts ago?
Perhaps.
Voyager is just about to make it out of our solar system.
And the big deal now this week is it was launched in 1977, and they're getting really close, but they don't really know when it's actually out of the solar system,
right?
Because it's hearing some extra noise in terms of waves on the electromagnetic spectrum. I don't know. Doug would have to chat in the chat room to tell me about how this works, but. It's a very interesting problem as to when it's actually out of the solar system.
Right. There was actually a radio lab on this. I think they have the audio recording of like when it just left like the outside part of layer or something or another of our galaxy, and you can like hear that point, but now it's like in the extra outer layer of the solar system to where... Anyway,
do you get excited about this? I mean,
I think it's very interesting.
Lots of people are saying that it's a huge deal because we're finally getting a man-made thing out of the solar system. But like,
true,
whoop-de-doo.
Well, I mean, it depends on what this leads to. Like, is
couldn't
there
you have
something
said
else
this,
out there?
Couldn't you have said the same thing about how it was a huge deal when we got a man-made ship across the Atlantic over to the...
I think they did say that was a big thing.
Well, okay.
I think there's been a lot of like milestone points that we've come past through the years.
The article is saying this is one of the greatest scientific accomplishments of all time. And I mean, yeah, it's a cool deal, but I mean, what do? We sent a piece of metal out and hoped for the best.
Okay. Yes. I mean,
Doug says it's a huge deal in the chat room.
I think it's a huge deal too, Doug. I think it's a milestone in human evolution.
But the next thing is going to be we have to go outside the next thing, and then the next thing, and then we'll get to the wall, like on the Truman Show, and we'll run into the wall.
There's an actual medical disorder about people, or a medical disorder that people have that think they are in a Truman Show-like atmosphere. So, maybe we're all that.
You, in fact... It's more blatant. It's more blatant for you, considering you have all these cameras down here.
I make my own television show, so I know that I'm always on camera. That's my theory. Anyway,
the next big story. It was a huge story. We buried the lead, and it's that Apple announced new stuff. It seems like every week we talk about Apple. What did Apple announce this week?
Okay, so the biggest thing is the new MacBook Pro that has a Retina screen. What is it? It's an SSD. It can go up to 16 gigs of RAM, which...
It's essentially a desktop replacement, but it's actually really...
It's very thin. It's thinner than all the other MacBook Pros that don't necessarily have the Retina screen, or they don't at all. Those are the big things about it. It's not going to ship with Mountain Lion, which I kind of wish that happened. I kind of wish
But you get a free upgrade.
You get a free upgrade, but it's not out yet. I was hoping for some type of upgrade to the Mac Pro, even though I'm probably not in the market anymore. It would have been nice to have a good, solid desktop to run video editing programs, which is kind of the reason I switched to Mac. And now I kind of feel shinted a little bit, and I just made up that word. And
it's a good
Apple,
word.
I think Apple's announcements, they're great, but they pass, and, buy it. Don't buy it. They're making new stuff. It's good stuff.
Well, I think
moving on.
The biggest new, I think that they're going to phase out desktops. Personally,
that's I think what they want to do. I don't think that's necessarily what the people who do video editing or really cumbersome things that take a lot of processing power want to do.
But if they can sell you a notebook that's just as powerful as the desktop that they're creating, why not do that? And you can connect via their DisplayPort, or what's it called, Thunderbolt.
Yeah, they got
you can
Thunderbolt.
Connect via Thunderbolt to that's a high-speed thing, so you can connect any peripheral board that you would put in a desktop. You could connect via that port, so it's fine.
Okay, but for this laptop, then I'm gonna hook in a second monitor to it. I'm going to want my bigger keyboard that has all of my laid out keys for Final Cut or Adobe Premiere or what have you that are all marked and everything. Then I'm going to have my jog wheel that's used for video editing all plugged into that. I'm not going to want to use the trackpad anymore, so I'm going to have an external mouse off the laptop.
And you're going to leave it plugged in so the battery's going to die.
Which is also another battery that I can't take out because it's glued in now.
And that's really the big story that we posted in the Reddit, that this notebook, compared to any other notebook that Apple's made, is the most least beneficial to...
It's proprietary.
Yes. It's all glued together.
It's not all glued together.
The battery is glued in. The RAM is glued in. The screws are proprietary.
The RAM is soldered in.
The screws, you can't actually use a normal screwdriver. Anytime this thing breaks, you have to send it in. And this is just an example of American consumerism.
And that's what grinds Gavin's gears, everybody. American consumerism. Damn.
It's true. What these things are built to break after 2 years, and if you want to get it fixed, you have to send it back to Apple, which is going to be $500, $1,000 fix, so you might as well buy a new one. And
okay, so I think this has come completely around to the fact that if they gave me a desktop, I can open up my desktop, I can hack away and add hard drives to it and do whatever the hell I want to it. And they're taking that away from me.
That's a good point.
They did do an update to the Mac Pro. They updated the processor. I think that's about what's happened. Maybe I don't want them to touch it anymore. Maybe they'll make it more proprietary. But that's what I'm sticking with. Next story.
Well, just to finish up, Doug is agreeing that he thinks it's only Apple. It's not necessarily American, and that Apple is proprietarying this. Apple is pushing this viewpoint.
So what grinds Gavin's gears is Apple consumerism?
No. I'm just echoing what's in the chat room because we like to include them.
Yes.
So next is the fun segment of our show. We've got a few things. First of all, do we have the jingle yet? We need to get a jingle.
I didn't know there was supposed to be a jingle.
Braden subreddit of the week.
Well, at least it got. Anyway. So it's labeled with my name now, and I was the one that went and hit the random button on Reddit.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and guess what came up? No sleep. No sleep. No sleep is a gathering of people that, well, they can't sleep, and they post long stories, fairly long,
and scary.
And yeah, they're stories that make you not want to sleep. So here is a selection from. This is called Friends. It's the top story of their hot. I believe it's like chapter 5 or 6 or something. And I'm just randomly in here, but here we go. He dragged his eyes slowly to hers and said, "I don't understand." He repeated this as if it had forgotten all other words, and my mother could hear him still muttering it as she walked past him to look in the hole. She told me she wished she had gouged her eyes out before she faced downward into that crater, and I told her that I knew what she was about to say and that she need not continue. I looked at her face, and it was expressing a look of such intense despair that it caused my stomach to turn. I realized that she had known of this for almost 10 years, and was hoping that she'd never have to tell me. As a result, she never came up with a proper arrangement of words to describe what she saw, and as I sit here, I met with some difficulty.
That's enough.
All right. That is one paragraph of a very, very, very long post of. Yeah, this is chapter 5.
Oh,
so they submit very long stories, but they're it's
if
for
you like
the literary folks.
If you like scary stories, if you like to read. There's some good stuff. There's some bad stuff, but
hey, vote up, vote down. Give it some loving. They also have their own IRC chat room. I thought that was fun. It seems the same people have kind of been sitting there all day, but not much chatting. I like the actual layout of their sub is very nice. They have an on and off switch for the lights.
How do they do that? That's so impressive.
I'm assuming it's just changing back and forth between two CSSs, but I don't know how to submit two CSSs.
Anyway,
you can nest it anyway. Yeah, and then so they also got me like clicking on all their similar subreddits, and creepy GIF is where I spent some time today, and it actually did kind of freak me out. And yeah, anyway, great subreddit, guys. Fun times had by Yun. I have subscribed. I just got a You Broke Reddit. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
so the other, speaking of scary stuff.
Scary stuff.
Braden's going to be running for his life from zombies.
Yeah, I am.
What's the deal with all these basically like 5K, 10K runs that are like themes now?
Well, you've got to keep it interesting. You got to get people out to your run.
You've got the color run.
I totally put this microphone right in your face. Sorry. Okay, so what I'm doing is it's the zombie-infested 5K obstacle course race. I'm not actually signed up yet, but we're trying to get a group. It's in Missouri, 8/18 in August.
There's lots of
there's a bunch of them.
Locations.
There's
though,
10.
across the
It looks
United
like.
States.
And it's a themed run. It's actually more of an obstacle course. With the run,
you have to run through blood.
You have to run through blood. You have to get through the mud. There's like a dark building and crawling, and there's zombies everywhere. And you have 3 flags. It's like flag football, the little tassel things that they hang off your waist, and the zombies are going to try to grab at those, and that's your health. And if you do become a zombie, you can still finish the race. It's just marked in your time that you were a zombie. There's
funny.
a concert and stuff afterwards at the end, and it looks to be a good time. And I've already been doing the Zombie Run
Run app.
Yes, Zombie Run app. So it seems like a fitting, almost like conclusion to the Zombie Run app, because I'll be finished way before then. But yeah.
Well, I think this is an interesting idea, but there's also many different types of these races suddenly. Like a year or two ago, these didn't exist. There's like the color run where you like spray color sand at everyone. There's
I thought it was that's kind of like the stuff that they do in India with the color festival.
There's that.
Okay.
There's like day-long marathon trade stuff.
I don't know what you're talking
about.
I thought it all started with costume runs. Like people were like they
There's
were
like
just
intense runs where there are like lots of intense like activities that you have to run through deep mud and stuff.
Well, that's kind of like the zombie
These
run.
things are a dime a dozen now, and I'm interested to see why are they happening at this point in time in the world.
I think it started with like a couple people doing the Boston Marathon and dressing up, so
yes,
they
the
would
Warrior Dash. Doug points out
they would like make it on the news because they wore a costume during the Boston Marathon or the Chicago Marathon or something, and that spawned into doing a completely costume run, and now they're being themed, something like that. I think that was the progression.
I think we're just getting to we're just scratching the surface on like creative ideas, right? Like Zombie Run, like that's cool, but it's also pretty obvious. Like there's going to be 1.5 million of these different types of runs in like 2 years. Okay, that's my prediction.
So what you're telling me is we need to create a run now.
Yeah, and they're expensive
themed.
too. You're paying $77 to run in this?
True, but the 77 concludes T-shirt, medal, a beer, access to the safe zone, whatever they're calling that, and there's a concert with a couple bands at the end of it.
That costs them like $10.
All right. Fine.
Well, and they have to hire people. I mean, there are legitimate.
I guess they have to hire some people, but like if you're talking about like hiring people to play the zombies, I think those are all volunteers because that's actually already I guess you could call it sold out, but they're already done. And then if you do run in the race, you get first dibs at being a zombie next year. So it's a proprietary thing that way.
So yeah, we should start our own. We need to think of the Tech Talk Tonight run.
The Tech Talk Tonight run. What do we do during the Tech Talk Tonight run? You have to run a thing, tell a tech story, and then run some more to where you eventually end up in a basement surrounded by cameras. And
we need to end
okay.
this.
Yep.
So everybody sign up for that. Next and final story, unless you want something else to talk about, something else, Braden. We're just going to throw in
cool.
a reference to the Amazon Cloud Player is now on iOS because we were.
Of course, you would pick this story.
I personally was lamenting about 6 months ago on this very show that. What was I saying? I don't even know.
You
I was
want to
saying
play
that
your
the
music.
I played my music on Audio Galaxy, and you said why not use Amazon, and I said that's because I can't play it on my iPhone. And
now they have an
app for it, and it works really well. It was just released today or yesterday, or the day before. I don't really know, and it works really well. I've been playing with it, and that's a free service, I believe, up to like 5 gigs or something. You can upload all your music and play it and stream it. So now you have this, you have Google Music, you have Audio Galaxy, you have Groove Shark. There's so many things.
So the real
why
question is,
why do people even put their MP3s on their iPhone?
That was my question. Like I have one playlist on my phone now, and the rest is,
I don't put music on my iPhone, and I like
all.
it. The only downside, and which we've talked this to death before, so we don't need to talk about it again, is when you're on an airplane and you don't have access to the internet.
This is true.
That's the only time.
There's also apps that interact with your music playlist, like Zombie Run. There are others as well that need access, or they're going to play your music in the background.
Well, if they're written correctly, they could also interface with any music app.
You think?
Yeah.
But can they tell, like, specifically when a song ends and begins?
Yeah.
Because they kind of go off that.
Maybe not, actually. I mean, I've never
I think
seen an
that
app
would
do
be
that.
where the challenge is.
Supposedly there's supposed to be an API that Apple provides, but maybe they don't take advantage of it.
Okay.
Anyway, that's all our stories for this week. Thanks, everybody, for watching, especially you Redditors out there. Where can they find you?
Thank you for being here.
If they want more Tech Talk Tonight goodness, where can they find you, Braden?
Well, you're already on Reddit, so just go to /r/Tech Talk Tonight. We post all our stories for the week there, and we, hope people kind of vote on them and stuff. And hey, write us a Tech Talk Tonight story or put us into it. That would be awesome. I'd read that entire thing on the air, I swear. And I'm glad that people kind of showed out. Good times. Otherwise, techtalktonight.com is where all of our links and fun stuff is. You can find me at Braden H on the Twitters. And, you can be like Tom Merritt and respond to my witty remarks. Gav, where can they find you?
GavinR.com is where you can find the links to all my stuff. And we will end tonight with a quote from the subreddit of the day 2 weeks ago. Oh, actually, it's really long, so we won't do that.
They're all really long. Just read the first title.
My fiance ate a lot of chocolate during her pregnancy, and our baby came out black. Should I be worried?
What?
It's the top one.
Wait, no, that's from Shitty Ass Science,
yeah.
isn't it? Oh, okay.
I said from 2 weeks ago.
Okay, sorry. That's Shitty Ass Science for you, everyone.
That's not appropriate. I'm sorry. I read it without reading.
Of course you did.
That's a bad idea.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us in chat and everywhere else. Check us out on YouTube. We'll see you next Wednesday.